All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Good morning. How you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for being here. Today should be quite interesting. I've got kind of last minute idea going. You know what? We see a lot of these issues with AI and AI generated scripting and people using Google AI and it giving them wrong information. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to open up a Word document. We're going to use what they call Copilot, and I'm going to generate two AI scripts. We're going to break them down, and we're going to talk about the specific errors or the specific information that's out there, and we're going to make sure that we can dispel some of that. So if you are interested in that, please stick around. Eric just went AFK for just a moment. He'll be right back. Um, but again, I just want to make sure that you guys have this information. I've done some shorts on it. I've got a video dropping here pretty quickly. And this is a real big problem in the community. So I really want to make sure that people understand that utilizing AI generated scripting, especially for trying to identify varieties and errors, is a really bad thing. So there are ways to avoid it. A buddy of mine was joking with me and he says, "You want to avoid AI searches? Swear, swear in your search. It will not bring up AI. It'll always bring up good information, but it will not bring up AI." And actually, he's right. Now we're not going to do that in here, but I do want to show you some of that stuff. So I'm going to do the pleasantries first. Say hi to everybody. See what's going on. I do want to say that there's going to be another St. Jude piece today. They still have like 100 lots or something like that left. So later on, they're going to talk today. I'm doing my normal stream, not a big deal. But as soon as that's done, I want everybody to go over there. They've got 100 or so lots today. They should have some cool stuff. I think they've raised something like $35,000 already. So anyway, lots of cool stuff over there. But we want to go over there and check that out later. All right, and I said 34. I think it's 23. I don't even I'll have to pull it up. So let's say hi to everybody. Ground Fog, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Jackalope, as always. Thanks for coming in. Eric is here. He'll be back in just a second. Steve looking for silver. Good morning. How are you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. Stan Horn is in the house. Kinamine is here, and Kevin Hawthorne. All right. Well, Eric will be back in just a second. So I'm going to do something real quick, and I'm not going to have access to chat while I do this. So just be aware of that. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull up a Word document. And so I have here it's just normal Windows. It's Microsoft Word. And I want to talk about scripting and I want to talk about people that utilize AI to generate scripts. I want to talk about some of the potential problems with it and the information that's given. Now, we see tons of videos in this hobby of information that is clearly wrong. And for those of us who look at the information, they go, "Oh, that's not right." And I firmly believe everybody who sees this can fully understand what's happening if they just get good, reliable, truthful information. Once you kind of understand what the truth is, then you'll be able to identify what's bogus, what's BS. So I want to share some things with people and make sure that you guys have that basic information. Because again, I think every one of you has the opportunity to be an amazing collector. Every one of you has an amazing opportunity to really be a steward for our hobby. However, we need to make sure that you're getting the right information into your hands, or that opportunity may never come to fruition. I really want to make sure that you have this. Hey, Eric, thanks for coming back. All right, so let's go into this and let's click in, and we're going to jump into create a draft with Copilot. Now, some of the things that I'm going to be putting in here are going to be very, very simple. What you would see a standard person do. So tell me about the no mint mark coins worth lots of money? All right. It's a very simple question. It's something that is very clear, right? And it's something that I think that the standard user might ask, right? I think that's something that's going to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate, and we're going to look at some of the text. We're going to break this down. We're going to talk about the various mint marks. We're going to see what it tells you, and it gives you quite a bit about certain coins. All right, so let's break this down. So for numismatists and casual collectors alike, the world of coins offers fascinating glimpses into the history, artistry, and treasures of hunting. Intriguing aspect involves coins without a mint mark, which can sometimes be worth a significant amount of money. Fact, no problem. In the United States, mint marks introduced where the coin was produced. Man, I can't even read today. But some coins are issued without these identifying marks, adding an element of rarity and value. Okay, so far that information's not bad. So understanding mint marks. Mint marks include P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and W for West Point. Now, what it doesn't say is that there are coins that naturally come without a mint mark. Here is historical context. The absence of a mint mark can sometimes be attributed to the decisions made by the U.S. Mint. Example, during World War II, the mint produced large quantities of coins to meet increased demand, leading to some coins being minted without identifying mint marks. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. There were, if you're talking about specifically, Eric, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, outstanding. So let's talk about the many ways in which this example is wrong. During World War II, the mints produced large quantities of coins to meet the increased demand, leading to some coins being minted without identifying marks.
Yeah,
Wasn't during
that's
World
not
War II.
correct at all.
No, it wasn't during World War II. And so one of the issues you have to understand is most likely what they're referencing is the Coin Act of 1965. Right. Now, the Coin Act of 1965 reduced all mint marks across all coinage, but it was only for 65, 66, and 67. But this information is not correct. Now, during World War II, we did have something happen, and that happened with the steel cents, and that happened in 1943. And all of you are familiar with the steel cent, and it did provide the opportunity for some potential errors. One that really stands to mind is the 1943 copper, right? That's definitely one of those. Or the 1944 steel cent. In 1943, and Eric, you can, if you want to pull up some of the varieties in 43.
I was just going to add there is the potential why nothing's ever been found for there to be 42 nickels that would be, you could have a copper nickel planchet be struck with the other dies. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, so there's the potential for some varieties here. There's a potential for error here. But the fact is I mean, we're already into this. It's talking about historical context, and this is completely and utterly wrong. Now, depending upon when you use AI to do this, when you try to generate a script from AI, you're going to find that the information in that AI doesn't come exactly the same every time. So if I clear this prompt, and I'm going to do this, and we'll go back through and we'll do this again, and we'll see how it changes. We'll see how some of the information changes based off of the changing or one or two words. Now, if I wish to change this to say something like write me a script for like a video, then the information is going to completely change. So the understanding of what AI wants you to do versus explanation versus giving you a script, it's going to change that detail. But this is absolutely wrong. Not even close to being correct. And if you don't know about this, then all of a sudden what this does is this is going to give you a false belief that anything from 42, 43, 44, 45, 46 in those areas, any of those no mint mark coins are potentially worth
Right.
value.
Well, and they
No,
can be worth value, but not because of the reason that
yeah.
they're stating.
Yeah, and
I mean,
again, it's, additionally in certain years, the Philadelphia Mint Mark intentionally did not mint a mint mark to its coins. Yeah, like all the way up until 1980 for dimes,
right.
right? Like every penny that ever existed from Philadelphia, with the exception of 2017. Um, again, these things aren't included in here, and I want to be very clear when we're looking at these kind of items. And if you're in chat, you're coming in, I'm not seeing you. I apologize. Again, I'm looking at a lot of different stuff. I'm not even reading chat. So I'm going to rely up to the mods to get my attention here in a little bit. But one of the things here is a lie is a lie. And when I talk about a lie, there's a difference between lack of information. So if you don't have the information, you can't necessarily lie about it. So is AI lying? Well, no, it's just not right. Um, but what they're not including is the lie of omission. And so we're talking about Lincoln cents, for instance. And we got Eric up here. You guys know he works with copper coins. And Chuck Daughtry, you guys know Chuck very well. And if you guys don't know Chuck Daughtry or copper coins, you need to go check the channel out, because if you're looking at Lincoln cents, probably one of the best resources there is. They're continuously updating it, really working on trying to improve the product there. But when you look at this particular item and they say that, oh, well, there's only certain years where Philadelphia didn't mint the mint mark on coins, that means everybody's going to be looking for those particular items, and people are going to be selling that because they just don't know. And there are thousands, literally thousands, of videos about no mint mark coins that are all being misinformed, misrepresented. Now, there are some forms, and I see something on the 1922D. I'm really curious to see what's going on. Key date coins with no mint marks. Let's check that out. Several no mint mark coins have garnered significant attention over value over the years. And here are some notable examples. The 1922 No D Lincoln penny. Okay, you know what? This is pretty significant because this is correct.
Yeah, they actually did a pretty good job
They
explaining that
this
in a
is
paragraph.
Yeah, this is good. Now here's the thing: if any other pennies show up in here, it's wrong. Period. End of story. Right. So the only unintended Lincoln cent, the only unintended cent was the 1922 No D. That all the others, the mint marks that were missing, were there intentionally, or they were missing intentionally. This is the only one where the missing mint mark was unintentional. And the unintentionality of it is what makes that thing valuable. Okay. And that's where the error comes in. That's where the variety appears. So this is correct. The 1922 Lincoln penny, it is famous for its missing Denver mint mark. Overuse of the die, the abrading of it, you end up with two of these. There is the weak or missing mint mark, and that's
I
exactly
think
right. So
there's 3 or 4 die pairs of weak D.
yeah,
Then there's the no D with the strong reverse, which is the one that's the really the creme de la creme.
yeah, you
Let's say.
have the no D with weak reverse and no D with strong reverse.
And then the no D with weak reverse, you really can kind of see the D on them still. So they're called weak Ds.
Weak Ds.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into this next one. 1968S Roosevelt no mint mark. Okay, so let's read this one. Okay, so this is good because sometimes as we've looked through these, it's missed one key word on this particular coin, and that is proof. When I ran this test, when I was doing this to kind of prepare for this morning, and again, this was pretty last minute. I haven't done tons of these. There are other years that are not going to appear in here. The 70 isn't there. There is 71, 75, 68 is there. Um, but the word that was missing from many of these was the word proof. And that's a big problem because they're not going to be located on the business strikes. The other thing is I should have added the keyword, the things that you can find in your pocket change, or key errors that you can find in your pocket change. We'll do that one next because I think it's really important for you to find that there are going to be some proof coins listed that you can find in your pocket change, and that's just not going to be likely. Now, when we look at the 1968 No S Roosevelt dime, that's great. A small number were mistakenly struck by the U.S. Mint as a result. It's highly sought after. Good information. Here's what it's missing. How many of them are there? Because the rarity and the availability of it is important. When they talk about, and a great example of this is the 1975, the one listed down below. So again, 71, 75 proof coins without the S Mint mark. Their rarity, they're expected to be the highest quality. Again, what does highest quality mean? That is not descriptive. The problem is, Coach, what year do they start using mint marks? On dimes, specifically for Philadelphia, it was 1980. So when you're looking at this particular one, 1975, there were only two. And I'm doing a video on this. I actually just dropped a video, a couple videos on no mint marks and kind of countering some of the stuff that are out there. They're shorts. You can go check those out. But there were only two 1975 no S mint mint marks, and so
Yeah, and after looking at those, I question whether they're actually truly legit because they're not from the same die. You can
no,
actually tell by
and
the photos they're from different dies.
and the U.S. Mint has debunked, kind of, well, not completely debunked those, but they're like, there's two potential possibilities here. Number one, we caught that very early and didn't document it. So they're saying
That
that's really
or
not a possibility.
a
The
proof
other
planter
one
made
is
its
that
way
it was a
through the
Mint
hopper.
employee.
Yeah.
And that's most likely, again, Paula talks about Occam's razor. And, the simplest answer is usually the correct one. We've seen that happen in the U.S. Mint before. People intentionally creating errors and varieties. You get mint directors that have created specific coins, minted only few of certain items to be given away as gifts and things of that nature. It's more likely to believe that this was a manufactured item versus something that you can find in mint sets. Now,
Right.
I'm not saying that you can't potentially find one of these, but you're not going to find a $300,000 proof 68 in your pocket change. Just not going to happen. Plus, you have to know where to look at. The 1975, you're going to be looking at packaged proof sets, right? So it doesn't give you, so yes, it does tell you about the coin, but it doesn't give you enough information to be able to do this. And if you listen to a lot of these AI generated videos, this is exactly the problem. They don't give you the pertinent information to help you make informed decisions. And so for anybody who reads this, they're like, "Ooh, I have a really shiny 1975 coin. It's proofy and it doesn't have a mint mark. I struck it rich." And they take it to a coin shop, they post it online, and it's like, nope, that's a business strike. No, this is no S. It's a business strike. It's not a proof. This is very proofy. Look, it's reflective. Now, it's not the same. Uh, the information that's given by these things does not give you enough information to make an educated decision on a coin. And unfortunately, this leads to videos that do the exact same thing. And that's a major problem. And these videos ultimately end up being extremely bad for the hobby because people who think they've found a treasure, a genuine treasure, who are generally excited about finding something, take it and they're totally destroyed. And the people at the store, if they don't have good manners, are like, "You're an idiot. This is just a common Philadelphia coin. There's nothing here." and we lose potential people who, if given, and I've said this before, every one of you has the potential to be an amazing collector, really grow the hobby, really provide some good stuff, be amazing stewards. Every single one of you has that capability. We just need to cultivate the right information. And I want to make sure you understand that AI right now is not the way to do it. These videos do more to damage our hobby than they do to help it. And it's very important to me that I explain why. All right, the 1982 No Pete Roosevelt dime. Now, Coach, you asked a question just a second ago, and this is extremely important. What year did they start using mint marks? Well, if we're talking about dimes, I just mentioned it was 1980. Cool. All right. So we have one that we know a P should be on the coin, but it's not. Now, Eric, you know the story about this 82P, right?
I do, and I do know that that's probably one of the coins that is possible to find in pocket
I was
change.
just about to go there. This is exactly one of those things that if you're going to do strike it rich with pocket change, Brian Allen would probably say the same thing. This is definitely one you can find. Now, why is that name important? Well, him along with Ken wrote that book. A majority of the coins that you find belong to Brian.
That's true.
Brian has an amazing set, right? So these are people that really understand what's being looked for and what to find. And he would most likely agree and concur with that comment. This is one you could potentially find in your pocket change. And what do you need to look for? Well, you just need to look for a 1982. It's really that simple. But here's the kicker, it's the only one that's a business strike. The only one that's a business strike. Okay, I'll say that one more time. It's the only dime that's a business strike that has an unintended no mint mark.
Can I go off on a tangent
Please
real
fire
quick?
away.
Me and Chuck were talking about this, and it started with the 22D, and he says, "Well, there's a 25S where the mint mark is pretty much abraded off, but yet it has no collectability because they actually made Philadelphia coins that year. The reason the 22 no D is collectible is because we know they produced 0 coins at Philadelphia.
That's correct.
So while there could be a 82 dime that was made at the Denver Mint with no mint mark, but it doesn't matter because they made the dimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
There.
Well,
And
you
that
can't.
is
There's no way for you to be able unless you
to
find it
prove it.
in a mint sewn bag
Yes.
and you do it
Even
live.
that. Once the bag's opened, it's all speculation after that. You'd actually have to have somebody that would be a grading company or something look through the whole bag.
And so you'd have to
Yeah.
have like, and again, it's do you ever watch World's Strongest Men competitions?
When I was young, I did.
Okay. So there's the mountain, and then there's that I can't remember their names because I know who they are, but I just don't remember their names. But he did something like the 500 kilogram deadlift and set the world record. And then there's this the mountain was like, I'm going to do this, but he didn't have anybody weigh it. It was all the one company, single company, and it was the
Right.
same company that promoted the whole event. And he kept asking everybody, well, who was there to monitor the weight? Who was there to view it? Who was there when you did this? Who's the one that checked the scale? Who was the one that balanced each one of the bars? Who's the one that, who did all this stuff? I had independent people put all this stuff together, right? The problem with finding one of those coins that is, let's say, just for instance, that 1922S, if it is a braided away, unless you have a very specific die marker.
And it would have, and it's still not collectible because they made a plethora of 25p cents that year.
Yeah. So how would you classify that? How would you
You
verify
would
that?
a worn die, so it would actually be a 25S with a worn die, so it might be worth a couple bucks
Yeah.
more. You know what I'm saying? There's no real value, real added value. And I guess another thing they have too is from 1975 to 19 in the 80s. I can't even tell you when the last one was. They did manufacture no mint marked cents at San Francisco and the West Point mints. There's documentation to prove it, but you can't prove what cents are minted there.
That's
And
fact,
they
and
minted Philadelphia cents, so they just consider them all
they
Philadelphia.
considered them all Philadelphia. That's correct.
Yeah.
And there's another one, and folks, if you collect silver and you have ASCs in 2021, there was an emergency issue, and you can see this in slabs. It's a fancy marketing thing, and you'll get jacked by it. It was an emergency run of 2021 American Silver Eagles. And what happened is they put this fancy label on it. People are spending massive amounts of money. Here's the problem. The moment that coin is cracked out of that label, it becomes a regular 2021 ASC. There's no identifiable differences. There's nothing about the round or the metal, the coin that's different. It's just the label. And the only reason that that happened was because when they ran these, certain coin collection or certain coin grading companies were able to smack this on there because of this quote unquote emergency run. It's a label only. And so when you look at a lot of these coins, unlike true varieties and errors, uh, be wary of labels. Don't buy the label, buy the coin. Um,
Always.
because sometimes they're just fancy marketing. If
Yeah, the
anything
word
was to ever
first
happen with
strike.
that, it's gone. Doesn't mean anything anymore. So be very, very careful when doing that kind of.
Yeah, the word first strike on your slab just means it was minted in the first 30 days of manufacture.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it was actually a first strike. It could have been the 2 millionth strike. Yeah,
Could be the 100 millionth
yeah.
strike.
So let's go back into this. So 1982 no P. Okay, good job. They don't quite give you all the information. There's nothing really intrinsic about this story. I would like to know more about that, but that's okay. Not a big deal. The information's correct. 1990 no S. A more recent addition to the list of variable marks is the 1990 Lincoln Cent, intended for collector stroke without the S mint mark. Their scarcity is prized. Oh, here's one that does exactly what I said the other two had fixed before. 1990 no S Lincoln Cent. Where in this does it say proof?
Um, it does say these were proof coins intended for the
Oh,
collector.
never mind. It does. He says that
All right.
here. I missed that. Never mind. Okay, I'll have
But
to do
the
that.
end, the last sentence, it doesn't take much precision to see that there's no mint mark. And I can tell you some information on this 1990 no less. There's been 5 of them found in the last year.
Okay.
And they're found in mint sets. So you just open the mint set, you look, and if there's a mint mark, it's not it.
Min sets or proof sets?
Proof sets, I meant. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So again, here's the important thing. If you were to say this, people are telling you that you can find these in your pocket change. You're not finding these in your pocket change. You're going to be finding these in proof sets. So again, it's lack of information. The the important thing to talk about when you're talking about these things is where can you look for them? Now, is it conceivable beyond the realm of impossibility that you could find one of these in your pocket change? No,
It is not
it's
inconceivable.
not inconceivable.
Right.
People crack these things out all the time. Could you find one? Yes, but what is the likelihood? Um, when you look at the mint sets and then you talk about people cracking them out, it's just not very likely. You're more likely to find one of these, and I think one was just found at the coin show in Baltimore this
There
year.
was, and there was 2 found in
Yeah,
Orlando, and then there's been 2 found just in coin shops.
yeah.
Like I say,
So
since that's been since January.
this is something that you have a greater propensity to find. But what's important here is, hey, Martin's treasure hunting. Good morning. One thing that's important to understand about this is, again, it doesn't necessarily tell you it. Okay, it's proof coins. That's great, but where do you find a proof coin, right? So, important information is being left out of some of these. Now let's look at some of the general factors. Let's talk about value. Condition, coins of pristine value, known as uncirculated or proof condition. Okay, typically command higher prices. Well, is that the same thing or is it different? Uncirculated or proof? Well, proof coins are uncirculated, but you have uncirculated business strikes. So it's kind of a misnomer when you're talking about a proof coin and you say, hey, I found this uncirculated coin. That doesn't necessarily mean it's proof. Okay, so wording here matters. Now, even though it sounds like it might be correct, the verbiage is going to be extremely important when you're talking about this, especially when you're talking about coins that only have are only able to be found in proof condition. Okay, and that's in the proof design. Okay. Now they do command higher. The presence of wear, scratches, and other damage can reduce a coin's value. Absolutely.
And that
Okay.
goes for every coin.
Every coin, regardless. However, when we're talking about, for instance, the 1975, I posted a short the other day and I showed you a coin that was beat up. It was beat to hell. It was a 1975. It was a no S. And they're like, you can find this in your pocket change. Here's what you need to look for. So when they talk about condition and they talk about uncirculated proof condition, what does it mean uncirculated? What does it's like? You can't find it in your pocket change, or it wouldn't be uncirculated. Okay. Rarity. The fewer examples in the particular no mint mark that exists, the more valuable it can be. Fact. But let's talk about rarity. If you're talking about rarity and you're talking about the 1975 no S, how likely is it that you're going to find one? People do not do that. Why don't they do that? Because if you're talking about a video of stuff you can find in your pocket change, they wouldn't be doing that video. Why do they do those videos? Because they command $350,000.
Or actually, PCGS has them one at 515 and the other at 575 right now because there's two examples now.
Right. But what I'm saying is people aren't going to look at a coin you can find for 25 bucks.
Right.
They're looking for the big money. They're looking for the one that's going to change their life.
And it's possible to find that, but don't count on it.
Don't count on it. Now, if you look, and I'm going to pull this up, and we're going to do this again in just a minute because I want to show you this. Coins worth millions. Okay. A great example, millions. MIOLIONS. Millions. 0.13 millions. What does that mean? Right? You can find a coin for $256 million. It's a huge number. People are like, oh my God, what coin is that? It looks kind of beat up. Like, oh my God, I have one of these. And they target some of these non-English speaking nations. And you get all these people. One major one has been the Philippines. I've gotten a ton of people from the Philippines saying, hey, I have this no mint mark coin. I have this no mint mark coin. I have this no mint mark coin. And why? Because they target them because they know that they have those coins available to them. And those people are like, hey, man, I have the opportunity to make a bunch of money. It preys on people's lack
their
of
desire.
Well, yeah, but it's more than that. They're preying on people.
Absolutely.
It's deceitful. And you can utilize now AI is an evolving tool. And I was talking to Eric about this. The program that I used to do video editing, I'm changing. I'm going to a new one. You guys will see some of this stuff. And it utilizes AI to investigate certain elements. But it's always up to me to validate and verify. I never use AI to write my scripts. And this is why. Most of the time, there's so much rework involved. It's just easier for me to write it myself. Because they're wrong and the verbiage is wrong and the way it reads is wrong. You have to be very specific about how you say stuff. I have a hard enough time speaking clearly enough at a level that everybody can understand that I don't need AI screwing it up for me. I don't need any help sounding foolish sometimes. And so, but it's very important to understand, what does rarity actually mean? Uh, Chuck did an amazing thing, and I wish I could remember which one. It could have been the 1982 um, small d, where he does the analysis, the math behind the rarity and the likelihood that you'll
Yes,
be
the
able to find.
82D small day
Yeah.
capper.
And it's like, well, to find one, it's like, 1 in 250 billion. And people are like, oh, that's no way. It's like, no, it's crazy because you have 7 varieties. So if you're looking at all the 82s, these are all the various things you have to look at in order to find one. The number is huge. If you want to find two, it was in the trillions. Trillions. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, that's a big number. Um, Joe Rogan does something where he talks about, I don't know if you've ever heard this. How many how many seconds, if you have 1 billion seconds or 1 million seconds, how much time is that? It's something
I had
like
never heard it.
it's something like 11 months, 7 months or something like that. And then it's like, okay, well, let's talk about 1 billion seconds. And it's something like 32 years, right? The amount between 1 million and 1 billion is astronomical. And an amount between 1 million and 1 trillion is way more so. So when they talk about rarities and people say, well, I found multiples of this coin, uh, people need to understand what that is. And again, I say this over and over again. You all have the capability of being amazing stewards for the hobby. You all can find some amazing things, but you need to be given the right information, um, because every one of us has the potential to be great. We just need to have good constructive information. And AI right now is not the place to receive it. If you Google some of these things, your first AI generated script is going to be wrong. I want to show you an example of that right now. So I'm going to clear this one. Obviously, that's not there. So I'm just going to wipe this out. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to write another one. So this is going to be the same no mint mark thing. Okay. Write me a no mint mark script. Explain the varieties of no mint marks and the values of these uncirculated coins. Now, I write this specifically for uncirculated coins because I want to get a very specific result. I don't want generalized pocket changed results. Okay. So as it pulls this up, we're going to see some information come up. We're going to dive into the variety of no mint marks, excluding origin, blah, 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 blah. All right. Let's go to Philadelphia mint marks. There, okay. There it is. Condition of grading of a few factors, uncirculated coins, which have not been used in everyday transactions. Outstanding, right? This is good. This is one of the things that is important when you're looking at this information. Retain the original luster, sharp details are highly prized. Professional grading services assess the condition of the coins, assign them a grade, higher grades, better condition. Okay, perfect. Historical significance. No mint mark coins that hold significance are associated with notable events that tend to be more valuable. Coins from specific years, such as the 1975 No S dime or the 1982 No P dime, highly coveted. Doesn't talk about any information. The value of no mint marks can be influenced by broader trends, fluctuations, the coin collecting community, factors changing in collector preferences, economic conditions, and discoveries of the new coins can impact the value of these. Now, here we go. We talk about 1968. Again, proof, outstanding. These are good. And then they kind of go on. Oh, I have a guest. Hey, folks, we're going to take a quick deviation. I've got Gremlin up here. And so I'm gonna take a little deviation here. Morning, Gremlin. How are you?
Morning.
Um, so I'm going to do a quick deviation from our topic. I asked her to come up to talk about something. How many people in the community know Shift Kicker?
A lot.
Um, some of you have seen this before. Some of you may have not. Um, Shift Kicker passed away the other day. So instead of trying to relay information third hand, I reached out to Gremlin. Gremlin has talked to her family, um, God, for months, like every day
Yeah.
for months now. Um, and so what I wanted to do is I wanted to avoid, yeah, Siren, exactly. I wanted to avoid any hearsay. I wanted to avoid any uh, kind of third party rumor mill based stuff and get it straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. So there's some things that we want to talk about, and I want to take a few minutes. I apologize for interrupting the stream, but this is extremely important. So, Gremlin, why don't we kind of just briefly go over a little bit about what happened with her passing, what are her family's wishes, and then we'll talk about the stuff you and I talked about yesterday.
So she had lung cancer, and she was going through treatment, but it still, despite that, it spread um, to her brain, her spine, and then it went everywhere. And so at the beginning of the year, she entered into hospice. And then um, it was not fun. But I talked to her multiple times daily, keeping her calm, just talking to her when I was streaming. I was talking to her. Um, I would just have her on the phone all through the night. I would have her on the phone. Well, she'd have me on the phone. And then my last call with her was a week ago. That's when she really deteriorated, and then she passed. Um, her husband and her son called me as soon as it happened that night 2 days ago.
Yeah. So she was very private about this. I had talked
Yeah.
to her a couple times, and I'll be honest with you. I didn't get to talk to Shift a whole lot. She was always gracious and kind when we would go into streams and say hi to everybody and whatnot. But I only got to talk to her a couple times, and she was very clear. She was like, "Frosty, you will not tell him."
Yeah.
Didn't want
She did
people
not.
knowing.
Yep.
She was very private about this. She didn't want people freaking out. But I wanted you guys to get it straight from the horse's mouth. And I again, um, there's a couple things that we want to be very clear on. So Gremlin has talked to the family and asked what the family's wishes are as far as what we can do as a community. Um, but I'm not going to relay it. I'm going to let her do it. Right? She's the one that's been in touch with the family. She knows what's going on. So, what has the family's made as far as wishes for contact and reaching out as far as what we can do to help them?
Um, they said that they do not need anything right now. Um, they're just trying to get through this right now. So, but her son told me yesterday that as things move forward and get shifted around as far as her celebration of life, he will let me know when it is and if they happen to need anything. But as far as needing anything right now, they do not.
All right. So, what I'm about to say may not bode well with some of you. I know we have a really good community that wants to help, but the family has made their choice known. Okay. I would really request strongly that nobody take it upon themselves to try to do something, fundraising, no anything, for the
Mhm.
family. People need to understand that there are unseen consequences of sending family we don't know their situation. We don't know what kind of things they have with the hospice place that they were working with. We don't know some of the stuff. And if you send somebody money, it might inadvertently cause them financially. People are like, well, how can sending money cause them financial issues? Well, if they have a set income and they get more money in, they could lose that other source of income.
Yeah.
And there could be potential tax burdens from this. There's a lot of potential issues that can come from sending unsolicited money. So even though as a community we want to come together and do stuff for her and support her family, this may not be the way to do it. So what I'm going to do, hey Reckless, what's up, bud? What I am going to do is I'm going to request that you guys do one thing. If you were friends with Shift Kicker, I want you guys to do me a favor. Take a card, take something, and write a positive note to the family. Say something like, hey, she used to always come in and say hi to me whenever I entered in the stream. I was telling Gremlin, she would come into the stream and say hi to me. And if I was doing something, she would email me. I knew I'd get, because we would talk via uh, email more than we talked via the chat.
Hi, Chappy.
And she would send me a message. I said hi to you in chat. Come say hi to me. And it's like, oops, sorry, I shift, right? And then I would get messages from, Meg or whatnot. It's like, hey, Shift said hi to you. Make sure you go say hi. And so Shift Kicker passed away, Reckless. We're just talking about that stuff. But again, what's important here is that we don't inadvertently do something out of kindness that can potentially jeopardize the family. I know you all have gracious and kind hearts,
Yes.
but we've got to be careful with this. We've seen this in the community before where we've done really nice things for people and it put the family in a really tough bind. The family has been very clear with Gremlin. We don't
Yeah.
need help right now. We don't need the situation right now. Um, we don't need intervention right now. And let's respect that. But what we can do is if you guys and Gremlin, if you can put your information, your PO box or an email, if you guys have some nice words, some words of confidence, some words of encouragement, if you want to send him something that says, "Hey, this is what your grandmother for the grandson. Hey, this is what she used to joke with me about," or these are the prayers she used to always say, or there's some real neat thing. Send it to Gremlin. We'll put a giant package together, and then Gremlin can be the community reference for us and send that on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we want to show the family that they're here. Gremlin and I talked yesterday. We've expressed things like what's going on, what's happening, what can we do, what do we need to stay away from,
Yeah.
and they were very clear about what they wanted. So let's honor that. I gotta take a drink real quick.
And I'm drinking my coffee. I just woke up and I was like, oh crap, I gotta hurry.
And no worries. But again, I wanted you guys to hear this directly from, and I'm not calling you a mule or horse, but I wanted you to hear it directly from the horse's mouth, the person who is actually in contact with her probably more than anybody. Because again, these are their wishes, right? So I want you guys to be aware of that. So I asked her to come up and talk about this, so that you guys were aware that, so you weren't hearing it from other parties. So if you
Yes.
can in chat, if you will put down where they can send cards, so we'll send them all to you, and then you can forward them on to the family. I highly recommend if you want to send something, like if you want to send, if you guys know, do you remember what she collected?
She collected maples and then she was collecting because she loved the maples, but she was also collecting stuff for her grandson because all of her stack and collections go to her grandson.
If you guys want to do something really cool, send a piece of silver and label it for her grandson and talk about how much his grandmother meant to you.
Yeah.
That will make an impact. That'll be a memory that the family will appreciate. So
Yeah.
if you want to do something, and I'm not telling you you have to, but if you want to do something like that, send a card, send a letter, send something like that. But if you want to do something like that, then that would be something fun to do. And then we can put some things together and then we can send that as a community. But avoid any fundraisers, avoid taking any cash, doing anything like that, because again, anything like that could
Hmm.
potentially put the family in an unwarranted situation. So I just want
Yeah.
everybody to be aware of
And I dropped my email because I don't have PO box, so you can email me for my address.
it. Okay. I don't see it in chat.
Oh, I don't know which one I'm in
Um,
because you
which
have
one do you want
two.
him to send them to? Is it the Gremlin?
Yeah, Gremlin Ashley at Gmail.
There you go. That is the email address. If you want to email her, she'll give you the information where to send it to. But again, Shift Kicker was um, a great asset to our community. She had always a nice thing to say when she was in other people's streams. She would always wrap up the stream with a prayer. And again, just an opportunity for us to be kind to her family. So again, write a letter, write a card, 35, 40 cents. It's easy. Take a
Hmm.
couple of minutes and just say, hey, she was nice, she was polite, she was kind to me. If there's anything that we can do, let us know that there's a whole community of people on standby should you guys need it. Those words of encouragement are what the family needs. So we just wanted to say this. Ash, I appreciate you coming up and doing this.
Yeah.
But I wanted you guys to hear it straight from the horse's mouth and not through um, multiple parties and multiple chains where the information altered. I wanted you to hear it directly.
That's right, Chappie. Just mention her name and keep her alive.
Yep, absolutely. So again, just wanted to make sure you had that information. Thanks, Ash, for coming up. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, Frosty.
Love you.
Love you.
See ya. All right. Sorry to do that right in the middle of this, but I felt that was extremely important, and I told her when
Oh,
she came up,
absolutely.
yeah, we needed to do this. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to clear this because I want to. That whole train of thought was shot. I want to do something else. Let me pull this back up. Document. All right, so we're back into here. We're going to do a different one. And this one has a little bit more pertinence to it when it comes to some of the area we've seen, especially since 2023. Explain to me the In COD We Trust. Here. Now, I've got some official language here, specifically talking about what's going on with this. Um, oh, check this out. Call of Duty. How about I revamp that? Let's do this.
Do add U.S. quarter.
There we go. Okay. So again, AI doesn't know what you mean, right? That's important to understand. Here we go. Okay. All right. So for collectors using or looking to add the in COD we trust, it's essential to verify the authenticity of this coin. Due to the value and rarity of the air, counterfeit versions may exist. Collectors should seek from reputable sources. That's actually good information. Let's see. The in COD we trust was a notable mistake in the minting process of the American currency that has intrigued numismatists and coin collectors alike. The error is particularly fascinating due to its rarity and humorous nature of the mistake. Okay, well, first off, at the very beginning of it, it's wrong. Why is this wrong? So there are some legalities. Do you want to talk about this while I change the screen? Eric,
Sure.
want to talk about
It
why this is
actually is
wrong?
not in God We Trust. It's in God We Trust. It's just a font.
Yep, exactly.
That's the problem, and it's not just on one quarter. It's on every quarter since like 2023. So it's not fascinating or uh, collectible. This is one of the questions you get all the time. I don't get a lot of quarter questions, but I get this one on occasion. And people don't understand it when you tell them it's this. They're like, no, it's not. Uh, and I believe it had something to do with the original design, and not the one they made the quarter with, the one that was actually made as a representative of the design of the quarter.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so one of the things that this is, and I pulled this up from Cornell Law. Now I can pull up 31 U.S. Code 5112, and you can pull this up. But what Cornell Law has done is they've made it very easy for you to follow along. Okay, so they made it easy, and this is the reason that I'm utilizing this. I can go straight to the US code and pull that out, but you have to go through lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of stuff. They just made it really easy for you to manage. So this particular code breaks down the specifics of each coin within the US, everything that's done. And it talks about the metallurgical makeup of the coin. It talks about its diameter, the thickness, the weight. It talks about all the elements of everything minted. Talks about the alloys that can be utilized, what it has to be made of. You should look at the edge. It has to be discernible. You have to look at where it's fabricated. They have to have anti-counterfeiting properties on each coin. Like there's so much information that goes into the descriptor of this. It's important to understand. They may prescribe the weight and the composition of the zinc, so on and so forth. But here in section D is really what's the most important. And uh, I'll probably post this online, and I'll give you both this one from Cornell, but I'll also give you the actual one that's there. But it specifically states here that it must be in God we trust. It's not in COD we trust. But if you look at the G that they use, that's really important because here is the American Women's Quarter that started this. Now I'm going to zoom in really close. Now I'm going to zoom in close in this because I want you all to look at one thing very specific, and that's this right here. This actually comes across, up, and down, but because of the font and because of the way the coin is minted, the pressure, any die wear at all, and this little itty bitty thing right here disappears. It just kind of blends in. But this is the intended design. This is what's on every hub, every die, and it is not in COD we trust. It's simply a bad choice of font and die wear. It is no different than if you have mechanical or machine or ejection doubling. It's just die wear. In COD we trust is just a bad font and die wear. And there's a whole freaking market around this. And people just don't know. They're uninformed. And so out of all of these things, if you look at what's listed here in, oops, I've already removed it. If you look at what's listed in that AI thing, everything in there is wrong because of the initial statement. This is an error. It's not an error. It is not an error. This is the design. This is the Yavita Idar. I'm going to zoom out of here. And you can see right here, this is the Yavita Idar. I'm looking at the coin that they're talking about. I'm looking at the design elements, and it is clearly in God we trust. Now, Have we seen things where the mint has done stuff and changed it and they've gone through and they've altered it? Yes. The Wisconsin high leaf, low relief quarter, right? That was a design element that was added by the U.S. Mint. Is that correct, Eric?
Well, there's different opinions on it. That it's a re-engravement on a die on a certain amount of dies. Uh, I'm not absolutely sure what I think about it. It could be uh, a well placed, crack or something. Um, but I kind of lean towards the re-engravement.
Yeah, I definitely lean that way.
Yeah,
It's too detailed to be, and it's too repetitive. It doesn't. It's not.
I
If
think the
it were
low
a
leaf is the
crack, it would
valuable.
eventually grow.
The low leaf is the less common of the two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if it were a die crack or something like that, it would eventually grow. We would see, and we would have seen, especially
that's
by now,
true. That's true. There
we
you'd
would
have
see
progression.
progression in that, and we don't see progression. Um, because of the lack of progression in that particular quarter, then again, it really leads me to somebody re-engraved something on that particular set of hubs or dies. But this one, it's very clear. The In God we trust. There is that lower serif that drops down below, and if that serif cannot be seen, one because many of us are a little bit older and don't have wonderful eyes, or we look at it, um, and again, the mind sees what it wants to see. If it happens to be a C, then we see it as a C. If we hear it as C, then it becomes a C. But it's not. The design element, as it was designed, not only in legal terms, it's a legal requirement. The mint must include "In God We Trust." Um,
And it would be real easy to fill that little notch in on the bottom. It goes to the theory of like the 50-55 poor man's double die, how everything starts working out. Just die abrasion in itself can take that little. I mean, there's not much of a notch underneath
nope,
it,
nope.
so that could get filled real easily
Yeah,
just from
and
polishing and
a
stuff
little
like
bit
that.
of grease that got stuck in that area.
Yep.
There's a number of things that it could be, and I hear different people talk about different things. People say it's just a dye grease area. Well, ultimately, it's a bad decision in the design element of the coin. That's all. That's what this equates to. Um, if that serif, and again, if you look like, yeah, it looks like that on my proof set. Yeah, exactly. Um, if you look at the variation between the FGs when you're looking at the 88, 89 reverse, right? It's a design element. One has a little serif, one goes straight up, right? Eric?
Oh, yes, yes. I did. I thought you were saying, not asking.
No, I was asking. Um, and again, that you could see design element changes, right? So there are intended things that happen. This is one of those. That G was intended to be that way. That was a design element. They put that there. Um,
I mean,
so
I'll agree it was a poor choice, but
yeah,
they did have a goal in mind when they did choose it. They were trying to replicate a design by, I mean, I can't remember her name, Mary
Harding
something, I
Laura
think.
or Laura Harding Fraser.
There, that's it.
Yeah,
And that's why they chose it.
yeah. And so again, when you're looking at these things and you see these kind of videos, and again, we talk about I really hammered the holy hell, and you guys are probably getting sick of this, but the no mint mark and the in cod we trust, because these are things that are bringing people into our hobby. They're finding these. And then you get people who are knowledgeable about this and they're like, oh, that's nothing. I had a person cuss me via email that they put something in chat and I was like, the in cod we trust is not an error. He's like, well,
It's
you're just
very
trying to get
common.
them all for yourself.
It's very common when I get an email That's why, I mean, I don't want to buy anybody's coins.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
I got enough coins of my own. But the 82D small date copper, I get these emails, and the first reply is always, "You're trying to screw me." And it's like, I don't want your money. I wouldn't give you a penny for your penny. I don't
Here,
want it.
I want to pull this up because you guys, and
Uh,
again, right, transparency. The reason that I search this stuff live with you guys is because I want you all to be aware. You all can look this stuff up too. Here's where you go. This is how you find it. This is what you need to look for. I just noticed a drop in my settings. Hold on. Yep, I thought that was the case. You probably can hear me a little better now.
I can.
My microphone just dropped and I realized what was going on. Okay, so U.S. Mint circulation mintages, and this is going to take me into the coin production, right? And I can come over here and do circulating coins, and I'm going to come to 2023. Now, why am I showing this? Because we're looking at the quarters, 25 cents. This person told me that I want to find them all for myself. Well, there was 1.3 billion quarters. I'm sorry, folks. I don't have that kind of cash.
Right. And what about the 2024? Because it's still there, and it's still there on 2025. It's going to be there through the whole women's quarter program.
Yeah, but here, and again, we're talking about Philadelphia, Denver, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have, 3/4 of $1 billion just lying around. So I can't have all of these myself. Needless to say, I wouldn't be spending it on quarters if I did. But yeah, you come over here and you look at the 2024 and you look at those mintages, you'll see the same thing. You'll see massive 537 million just alone in Denver, right? And so, no, I'm not trying to keep these for myself. No, I'm not trying to talk people out of these. What I'm trying to do is get people who are coming into the hobby to understand that a lot of this stuff is just, it's just a money. It's just a clickbait. It's just a grab for attention.
And you got to understand, these people, I know they want to make money and get rich and all this stuff. It's just not as easy as it's, I don't know any coin collector that makes money. Everyone that I know that's a really seasoned coin collector spends money.
Yeah, and again, hey, Mike Noodle, what's up, brother? Good to see you. One thing that I want to be very clear on when we're talking about, again, this is the in God we trust, the in COD we trust. Again, simple design element. Laura Harding Frazier was the one who originally designed the quarter. God, way back when.
And if you look at the font, it's kind of Art Deco because at the time it was Art Deco, was in style.
Yeah, and it's just a poor design element. But again, we see so many of these videos, and I'm sure Mike has gotten just tons of people saying, hey, look, I found this amazing coin, or I found this amazing variety.
That's right, Washington State Jags fan. And you just spend money to buy money.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think what is referenced in that is, every day, always seeing these errors.
Yeah.
But they're not errors, folks. And again, when we look at the AI generated content, the first thing that we saw is this error. Well, it's automatically wrong. Everything that follows that is wrong because the pretense of going into that AI script and saying, hey, tell me about this error. Well, it's not an error. It's not something like that. So be very careful about utilizing AI script. If you're creating videos, be very, very careful about utilizing AI script.
If you do use AI script, scrutinize it very carefully.
Well,
I mean, some people can't write real well. So I understand why people use it, but for God's sakes, double check it and edit it if it's wrong.
Mike, I just realized what he meant. I'm wearing the noodle hat. And he's like, great hat, but he called me Chuck. Anyway, but yeah, that's how, this is a golfing hat. I used to demo Max Fly Noodles. So I've had this hat for awesome. But yeah, that's funny. Nope. Frosty, you're close. You'll eventually get me. No big deal. It's okay. It's only my channel.
And good morning, Mike.
Good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. But again, it's just there. I want you guys to be careful if you're utilizing AI scripting to either create content or to learn about something, because it's not where it needs to be. What I would recommend is bypassing the first. You'll see anything that says sponsor or anything that says AI. Bypass those, the first 10. And then you'll get an ad, and then you get your actual results. Scroll all the way past all of those, because if they're ad-based, they're people who are creating these elements, having these items. They could be coin-based ads. They could be manufacturer ads. We talked about the ASC, the 2021 emergency issue, which is just another freaking ASC. They could be people trying to sell specific labels or sell specific information on that. So avoid those first few, scroll down a little bit and actually get into the meat. If you really want good, solid information, surround yourself with people who really understand the process, right? And I always talk about looking at, like, talking with Paula, talking with Chuck, talking with Eric, going to the Coin Show podcast, asking questions. They answer a lot of questions. Finding people who are genuinely about growing the hobby and surround yourself with a solid network of people. I don't mind you going to Google. Google's been an amazing thing, but Google doesn't necessarily distinguish between good and bad information. They're giving you search results.
Yeah, it's a data mine.
And that's all it is. And so you've got to be really careful utilizing Google to get your information. Yes, it's a good way to pull it. And again, I use AI in my work every day to search different manuals and legal and legislative documents, because I'm looking for keywords in legislative documents. So it's really good to utilize that to help you with some of those monotonous tasks. But don't rely on the information as factual. If you get something, you still have to go through, validate, verify the resource, and make sure that your information is correct. Otherwise, you're going to be doing what a lot of people shouldn't be doing, which is trusting these AI-generated bots that are kicking our tail when it comes to information out there.
Don't trust them.
Frostbyte, Frosty, hey, you, the funny-looking one. Yep, I'll answer that one too, kid of mine. Just don't call me late for a meal, and I'm fine.
Oh, I thought I was the one that wasn't late for a meal.
My granddad used to call me, you could call me late for anything. You call me late for dinner, and you're going to get a butt whooping. But yeah, it's again, it's just one of those things that's important to make sure you're tracking that. And I know you guys are probably sick and tired, but I've been on a mission to combat a lot of this. I'm calling out some fairly large channels. I just did one on, if you guys noticed last night, I dropped one specifically on Facebook. You guys know the Coin Channel Tube. Now, I'm not knocking him, but if you look at items on Facebook, you'll see multiple accounts that appear to be his. The problem with these particular accounts is that they say they follow his recipe. Now, his recipe is, I'm going to give you a little bit of information. I'm going to show you a coin or a little video snippet. And then the first comment in my chat is going to be the article that I want you to go to watch the full video. It's a little teaser, if you would, but people have taken this, and I don't know if it's him or I don't know if it's somebody else, but they're all different names. It's all his picture. It's all his base style videos. And then this link. Now I've accessed this because I pretty much knew what it was going to be. I accessed this and it takes you to a scamming site that actually steals your information. It gives you one of those things, you can't pass this, you have a virus on your computer, you need to click here and to get it removed, and it downloads stuff on your computer, and it's bad news. I've captured about 10 to 12 of these sites, and I put a short out last night, talking about these. They all have his information, and I did a call out to him. I called out to his subscribers. If you see this, you subscribe to his channel, I'm calling you saying, I want you to come and talk to me. Let's do a live. Let's talk about, are these your accounts? If they are, we have a problem. There's a lot of bad information. And if they're not, what are you doing to stop brand identification? Because here's the problem. He's probably not doing anything about it. And the reason he's not doing anything about it is everybody's putting his face out there, even the fake sites. Now he can deny them and say, well, they're not mine. I can't control what they do, but they are putting his face out there. And this is pattern recognition. We see it, we see it, we see it, we see it. We see something from him, and now we see this and we relate it to coins. It doesn't matter if their information is correct. But the first time people start to get burned by this, they're going, the coin community sucks. Here's one of the top people, they're scamming everybody. Coin collecting people are scammers. So we've got to be very careful with this. We need to find out what these channels that are allowing these kind of things to occur, what's happening in here, and how do we combat this? And in order to do this, we have to get those big names to come on and talk about these elements, talk about what they're doing, and get their communities to dispel this information and start calling out them and reporting them for what they are, which is scams. And it's a real problem. It's a real big issue.
I would agree with Mike Noodle's comment 100%. They increase the volume to him and they camouflage this, they make it possible for him to do what he does. And it's probably not him doing the virus stuff. It's probably just clone stuff.
Well, but so here's the thing. It's like
Nigerian princess.
I can create ghost accounts. No problem.
Sure.
I can create 50 Facebook posts if I wanted to on 50 different accounts. No big deal. My question is, are they his or are they not?
That is the question.
That's the question. And this is what I want to find out. If they are his, then we have a major issue. And I want to talk to him. Yeah, I put out a formal challenge. I want to talk to you. I want to do it live. I don't care if we do it on my channel. I don't care if we do it on yours. But I want to find out if this is happening and you're aware of this. One, what are you doing to combat it? Number two, if this is you, you're sharing out a ton of bad information. And the people need to know that that's what that is. So I am challenging people. I am so sick of this stuff. We need to get a handle on this. And if there are big channels that are being manipulated and doing stuff like this, they need to get on board. They need to get off their ass and they need to do something about it. Because only with a pooled effort are we going to be able to combat some of this misinformation that's going out there. And I know that there are channels out there, we've talked about a number of these, that they are good to bring people into the hobby, but they are bad for the hobby. Yes. And we need to get those people out there. We need to talk about this and say, hey, if you're really, are you just about money? And if you're just about money, then find another venue because you're killing our hobby. You bring people in only to destroy the hobby. So you are killing everything that you say you're working for, because these people are trying to find these items. These people are trying to grow their collections, grow their stacks on information that's lies. And when they take it to somebody because they've thought they've built up a good community, they thought they've built up a knowledge, and they take it to a coin shop and the coin shop says, oh, these are presidential dollars, the manganese. They're not gold. What do you mean you've spent $100,000 on these dollar coins?
They're referring to them as golden dollars.
Yeah. And so these people, they're hurting our community. They're really bad for our community. And I'm not saying that I'm on a mission, but I really want to pull some of these out and I want to talk about some of these things. I did send an email. You guys, I kind of put him on the spot a couple of weeks ago, but Blue Ridge Silverhound says he is willing to come up on panel. So we're going to coordinate a time to have Blue Ridge come up, and I've asked him if he'll talk about grading. He's very good at doing this. It's something he really understands. Chuck is really good at this too. I want to get people to kind of understand, not, you guys won't be graders overnight, but to really get some good information, to be able to look at a coin and go, is this mint state? Is this damaged? Is like quick assessment. What are those things that you have to look for? Really quick discernment of information. So I've reached out to him. I'm waiting for a response. We'll coordinate time, but he said he's willing to come up. You guys have asked for that to happen, and I would love to do it. Mike, I'm going to ask a favor for you. I want to get, I would love to get you and Aaron Burke. Okay. I would love to get you guys to talk about ancient coins. You guys have that ancient coin podcast. It's amazing. I want to promote that. I would love to have you guys up to talk about these things. I'm really going to be working hard to promote channels. Now, I know this is going to, potentially.
Well, don't forget, got Coin Show podcast tonight at 8:00.
That's true. Good call, Eric. Good call. I want to promote channels that are promoting the positive aspects of our hobby. And a lot of people are like, Frosty, that's going to kill your channel. You're going to send everybody to other places. They're not going to get it from you. And there's a lesson to be learned in making sure that people know that you're a reliable resource. I don't need to be your sole source of information. But if I can be a place that you come to find that, I'm good. And that's what matters to me. We're a community. Well, but again, a lot of people don't look at that. Some of these people who want to have really big channels, they want to be the center house, the storehouse of all information.
They're doing it to be profiteers, and I don't do this to profit on it at all.
You can't do that.
To educate myself and everybody else.
Yeah. And it's really important. And again, I call out certain channels and I don't call out others, not because I don't support them. It's because there are about a dozen channels or a dozen people that are really diehard about improving. They might sell, but most likely they're just here to give information, combat misinformation, which is a huge one. But they do things that are beneficial to the community. And I'm going to continue to promote them, people. Doesn't mean that if I don't promote you, I don't support you. I go into a lot of streams. I support a lot of channels. But I really want people to understand that I'm really aligning myself with people who are defending the hobby. I want to make sure that the people who come in have good information. I say this so many times. This is going to become my new mantra. I believe everybody in here has the capability to be an amazing collector and a steward for our hobby. Every one of you has an extremely good breadth of knowledge in some aspect that can help you articulate things with our hobby to other people. You can explain things to people in a way I can't. And so you have the opportunity to educate. My job is to help get you the right information so that you can do that. And so if I can do that, then I've done what I want to do. And the first thing that I have to do is stop the information as well as I can. It's never going to end, but stop the information as well as I can, like in COD We Trust, no mark errors, all of these goofy freaking spitting horse. Tell it as it is, and really put pressure. Now, hold on. I think it would be a cool idea for a user to send 10 of their coins to have they seen with their own eyes first. Grade themselves. You have
it would be interesting, but it would be tough to coordinate, I think.
It'd be very tough to coordinate. So I'll read these for the people that are in. Hey, Robert Bruce, good day. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Robert Bruce said he was a victim of one of those where they hacked his information on Facebook and they took a bunch of stuff and they took his money and stole his identity. They're a major problem. So I'm going to read exactly what he says. I think it would be a cool idea for a user to send in 10 of their coins they have seen with their own eyes first. They grade them themselves. and then have you guys give your opinion on how close we were. I think I think the problem with that is if there's a lot of issues here. Let's say you think you identified a really valuable coin. I don't want you sending it to me. And the reason is, now you can do this at a coin shop, and I would recommend you doing that to a coin shop, taking it somewhere where you can do that. But I don't want you sending me 10 coins and then you accusing me of changing one out. I don't want to do that, even if I open them live. Well, you could have repackaged it. You could have done that. I'm not doing that.
Pick your best 1975 D pennies out, and see what you grade them. I could understand something, but it's still a logistic nightmare.
Yeah. But what you can do is I would like to pull out some coins, or Eric, we can do this together. Have Eric, and I think Chuck did this too, where he was going through doing a bulk submission, and he was going through the grading of coins. And you would look at it, you would say what you thought it was, and then he was explaining what that grade was. Something like that is a really good idea. We can replicate that. We can have, I'll even ask Chuck if that's something that he wants to do. But yeah. I want Blue Ridge to come up. I want people that you guys know, and you watch their stuff.
Everybody's grading technique is different.
And you'll learn something different from everybody.
Yeah. My biggest piece of advice is, if you're going to grade a coin, know the design of the coin in and out. Know the high spots on the coin. Know the low spots on the coin. Stuff like that. If you know the design of the coin, when you see a really beautiful coin, you're going to know that it's a really beautiful coin.
And you guys, for those people, and Eric had a coin shop. Mike, I think Mike has done something with coin shops.
Maybe.
Maybe. I'm not quite sure. But there are certain people that, this is what they do, right? Now, this is not what I do. I'm an analyst by trade, so I research. He's like, perhaps. I research. It's what I do. And so I enjoy going out and digging through information, trying to make something as simple as I can and then give it to you. I enjoy that. I find it relaxing. It's kind of, I do it for work. It's less relaxing for work, but I enjoy looking at this stuff and finding things. Mike said this earlier. It's not as important to know the correct answer as much as it is to find what it is that you're looking for. Know where to look. Know who to go to. Surrounding yourself with the right people.
And if you make a mistake, learn from your mistake. I make mistakes all the time, and I try to always learn from them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, smile more. Hey, good day. Thanks for coming in. It's nice to see you. Thanks so much for popping in. Yeah, and again, I not to pick on him. I love him, and he had a really good opportunity to educate every single one of us. Yoxnav, with the purchase that his son made for him for Christmas, turned out to be a counterfeit. This is a mistake that was made, but it can benefit the community dramatically. Here's somebody who knows, they're in the community all the time. They have this stuff. They bought a counterfeit coin. His son bought him a coin for Christmas. Unfortunately, it wasn't authentic. We gained so much opportunity to teach people about that coin. Jack Young came in, did an entire talk about very specific coins, looking at some of these elements, trying to identify what's going on. There was so much good that came from the sharing of that mistake that, one, it's not going to happen again, most likely, to him. They're going to be a little bit more leery about what's happening. They're going to ask more additional questions, but nobody reprimanded or ridiculed him. They were like, oh, well, what was it what deceived you? What was the thing that caught you off guard? What do we need to look for? And it became a really good opportunity for growth. It became a really good opportunity for the melding of the community, for the community to come together and say, here's all the elements of why this is fake. And here's what you need to look for. And not only did we get to help Yak and his son, Darkskoy, we also got to help a whole bunch of other people be aware of something. So don't worry about making the mistake. If you make one, let us talk about it. Let us go through it. Folks, I bought a fake trade dollar when I was getting 1873. I thought I was getting a killer deal at $300. It was a $900,000 coin. I thought it was great. I was going to be, oh man, this person doesn't know what they're doing. This is awesome. And it ended up being a counterfeit. And I was crushed because I thought I had gotten something good. And I sent it back and I was defeated. I didn't share that with a lot of people for a long time. But as I started to share that with people like Paula, and I started to share this with, and I took photos of it and sent them to Jack, and I was explaining some various things and looking at stuff, I started learning about, hey, it had the wrong reverse. Hey, that was supposed to be a proof coin. Hey, look at this design element. See how this is wrong? This is what you need to look for. And so now I have an authentic trade dollar. It's a good one, 1777. It's a really nice piece. And I was able to find a variety on this coin that the person who I got it from didn't know about it. So I was able to cherry pick something. And so, yeah, I fully aware, Mike, I was just giving you grief. I know he works at Harlan J. Burke. And if you don't know what Harlan J. Burke is, it's some, there's a name behind that one.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, it's huge, right? It's a monster place. So again, and I was just joking with him. It's like, you may perhaps have done this. Yeah, very knowledgeable, surrounds himself with a bunch of experts in the field. Again, Aaron Burke with the ancients. It's remarkable what he knows, and some of the amazing coins that he's been able to show. It's phenomenal. I would love to have them on the stream sometime. But in my mistake, I was able to learn about a coin, and I was able to start researching a couple other coins, and I found this 1860, purchased this coin for $165. However, found a really cool, it's AU, found a really cool variety on it. And when I went to search it up, it's a $400 coin. So I've been able to take some of my mistakes with purchasing and be able to work with people, identify things, and find really cool varieties because of the mistakes that I made. Allow your mistakes to be opportunities for growth. Allow those mistakes that you make, those little stumbling blocks, to be opportunities for you to do better. The only time a mistake is bad is if you let it defeat you, because that's when you fail. Falling is not a fail. Making a mistake and buying a fake coin is not a fail. When you give up is the fail. Never give up. Share those things, learn from them, and then you'll be able to grow.
There are actually a lot of people that buy fake coins on purpose. I know 2 or 3 people that have a significant collection of counterfeit coins.
I have quite a few of them. I use them for education. I actually just sent a couple really nice ones to, hey, Chappie, thanks for being a member, bud. 17 months. That's crazy. It's amazing how time flies. He's one of my original OGs. But the one thing, matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. Chappie, I am going to do. You just sparked this. I'm going to give 5 memberships out right now. Being Becky, outstanding.
Fake. Those are good fakes.
Lebanese fake?
Yes.
Yeah, some of them are really good. They're designed. The purpose of those is to deceive you, right?
Yes.
Their intent is deception. Yeah, it's not like these cheap Chinese counterfeits. Those are actually designed to deceive, and those are the ones that are scary because some of those are freaking amazing. Hey, thanks, Acadian Carpenter. Appreciate that. I appreciate all your guys' supports, and you guys, you know, I don't ask for super chats. I don't ask for memberships. That stuff is there. If you want to do it, feel free. What I want you to do is I would rather you share the stuff out. Watch the video, share stuff out. You know, ads appear in stream now. Unfortunately, it's it's just what it is. Watch an ad, right? Those things help the channel. I'm not going to plug you for super chats and gifted memberships and stuff like that. People do that because they're kind, they support the channel. But my goal for running this isn't to do that. Support me by sharing out information. Help me grow my channel. That's how you can help me. Okay. So that's the kind of support that I want. Mike says their intent is to sell gold to Americans before 1794. Yeah. And you know what, Mike? There's one coin. I'm going to reach out to you because there is one gold coin that is a fake, and I'm looking to get one, and I will put some significant money away to get it. I want the $3 or $5 Omega gold coin.
Wasn't there like a 1907 St. Gaudens high relief? That's an Omega coin.
There's 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
There's 3 significant. There's the $1, there's the $5, the $3, and the $20 St. Gaudens. I think there might be an eagle. I can't remember if there's an eagle one or not. But they're located in different places. So one of them is located on the by the talons. One of them is located inside the R of Liberty. Yeah. There's a couple different places for them. I think there are 3 coins, but I think there's 7 types, if I'm not mistaken. I want to find one of the Omega. I want it slabbed counterfeit. But I want to find one. They're actual gold coins. They're authentic gold coins. They use gold to make them, but they're fake.
Some of the counterfeits that you would get, like silver mortgage, you'd get a counterfeit. It would be 80% silver, 75% silver.
Yeah.
Gold the same way.
But there's, and again, I sent a really, really good quality counterfeit to Jack Young. It was something that was sent to me by a member who said, hey, this has been identified as a fake. I spent a bunch of money on it. And I kept it, researched it, took a bunch of photos of it, and then eventually sent it to Jack, and it's in Jack's collection because I want him to continue to share and to do stuff on that. And it was a really good, the entire coin was fake. It was a true counterfeit. But you can call him Jackie. I know who you're talking about. It was a really was deceptive. It was meant to be to fool somebody. Now there were definite issues with the coin. You can tell them if you really understand what was going on. It took me a long time to really identify exactly what was wrong with it, because I told people, "Don't tell me. I really want to research and find this out." And then I went back and talked with Paula, and talked with Jack, and talked with some other people, and they were, they validated a couple things, and I had a couple things right, and I had a couple things wrong. But that's how you learn, right? And so I do have probably 20 counterfeit coins that I use to teach people. Some of them are really good silver proof fakes. Like they're if you didn't know that they were fake, you wouldn't be able to tell. And I use them for education. Of course, you have the magnet ones, you have the cheap Chinese ones, but I'm more interested in seeing some of the ones that are meant to deceive. Those are the ones that they're really cool. What about you? Do you have any, Eric?
I do not do any counterfeit coin. I've gave to Chuck.
Well, Chuck, I need to have Chuck back on and have him do another review of his Lincoln cent.
Yeah, well, in that you can ask him. He's got a 44 steel cent that he says he bought it as a fake from the manufacturer of the fake coins off of like Temu or something like that. He goes, I didn't know it was fake. And it's come up. It comes up on Facebook all the time. There was a guy a couple months ago. I want $60 for this. I took it to my local coin shop, and he said he would, it was legitimate, and he was going to, if it was legitimate, he would have gave you $60 for it if that's all you wanted for it. I says, it's not legitimate.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the beginning of me not talking to him and having to ban him on every Facebook group I was in and all that other stuff.
Well, there's a lot on Instagram, and I recently got on
4/4. Wow. No
what
kidding.
the hell is it called? Reddit.
Yeah, there's that.
And what they do on Reddit is they say, "Oh, I found this in my brother's collection. What do you think?"
Yeah, or my great late uncle Vinny or something like that.
Yeah, but you know what they're doing, Eric?
Yeah, it's pure deception.
No,
They're buying it off of Temu and they're selling it.
no. So I have been watching one of these. I'm putting something together. I'm going to give you guys a little teaser. I've captured some of these, and there are two people. They're always asking, "Hey, I think this is a fake. How can you tell? I think this is a fake. How can you tell?"
All right. Yeah,
And
they're asking for information.
they're asking for information so they can improve their counterfeits.
Yeah, another thing with Facebook, since we
Yeah.
were talking about scams, the big thing lately has been people that sell coins on Facebook. Somebody creates a clone account like an hour before the auction ends and
Yep.
sends it. So most people, you have to be a year or two into Facebook to actually be a member of a lot of these groups now. So if you ever get a thing about, that it's a fresh account in Messenger, don't reply to it. Also, Facebook is no longer saying that cloned accounts are illegal. They're
Really?
saying yes. So a lot of these accounts are not getting banned like they were even a couple months ago. So watch that and just be careful. Facebook is probably not the best place to buy coins from. It's not a bad place if you know who you're buying them from, but definitely never reply to somebody who's on a new account. Be careful. They're trying to figure out some sort of safeguards right now on the
Wow,
payments. I'm a
interesting.
member of a couple sales groups. I don't personally sell or buy a whole lot, but yeah. So watch who you're replying to.
I think that's ridiculous that
Yep.
they wouldn't make cloned accounts illegal.
The last couple that I've heard, they've reported the account and they said that guy is allowed to keep the account. So, make sure you know who you're talking to when you get that Facebook Messenger post.
Interesting, because I would say, well, then fine, I'm going to sue Facebook for violation of
Oh, I'm sure it's somewhere in their book.
intellectual property.
All the photos in your thing, including your
Are open for public domain.
Yeah, they're all public domain, I'm sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, so be careful about that too. That has potential to ruin a lot of people's attitude towards the hobby.
Oh, you think?
Yes. Well, to me, a mistake hurts. I learn better when I get hurt. It's like falling down and skinning my knees. I'm more careful not to fall down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to send you guys all over to Ida's. She is doing the St. Jude auction. They had a bunch of lots left over. I'm going to go ahead and send you over there. You guys are more than welcome to go over, check that out and do that. I know a lot of people have jumped off because she started about 15 minutes ago. So please go check that out. Are you going to go check that out, Eric?
I am. I'm heading there right now.
Okay. Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Text me when the two lots come up.
I might not be on when those two lots come up.
I got two lots I want to buy. I want to get that. I'm looking for that 95 double die.
Yeah.
Because I don't have one of those. I want to get one of those. But I've got an event that I'm doing with my wife, and I'm not going to be able to be on.
It's about 80 lots away.
Say again?
It's about 80 lots away. So it's going to be every bit of 5 or 6 or 7 hours from now.
Well, yeah, but we'll be at the event until about 6 o'clock tonight. So there's a high likelihood I'll miss it.
She says she's doing all 93 items, and it's within the last 10 items.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for coming up. I'll email you, and we can talk about that. I would love to have you guys up. Thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. I definitely appreciate you popping into the chat. Again, folks, tonight, Coin Show Podcast, go check them out. Please make sure when you go over there, you say, hey, Frosty sent me. All right. All right, folks. Love you guys. Be well, be blessed. And I will see you in the streams.